Once again, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in this video, we are gonna discuss about for policy with source NAT in Fortigate firewall. So under policy with source NAT, there are three types of NAT: static SNAT, dynamic SNAT, and central SNAT. So first of all, I would like to make you understand what is NAT. So basically, what NAT does, right? So NAT is nothing but we can call it network address translation that translate private IP address into public IP address, and it also act as a agent between private network and public network, right? So what is static NAT, right? Static SNAT in Fortigate firewall. So in static NAT, all internal IP addresses are always mapped to the same public IP address. We can call also it PAD, that is port address translation. And in static SNAT, one single public IP address can handle the conversation of 60,416 internal IP addresses. And in one single public IP address, there are around 60,416 ports also available, right? So in static SNAT, all internal IP address means whatever internal IP address or behind the firewall, right? That will be translated into public IP address, one single public IP address. आप यहाँ पे देख सकते हो कि 193.168.99.2 which is my exit interface of the ISP1 ISP2, right? That is 192.193.168.99.2, right? So I have taken two link from two different ISP, but in my scenario there are only single ISP, right? So just assume that there are two ISP, ISP1 and ISP2, and यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हो कि 192.168.99.0/28 का subnet which I have taken from ISP1, and 193.168.99.0/29 which I have taken from the ISP2. So as you can see, the 192.168.99.1 IP address of primary ISP, and 192.168.99.2 IP address which is the IP address of ISP1, right? And similarly, as you can see that the same configuration I have done except subnet is only changed, right? So let me tell you the static NAT, right? Static SNAT. Let's suppose there is a user, right, which is sitting behind the firewall, and this user wants to go outside, right, to communicate the whatever services he wants to access. So this IP address will be translated. Let's suppose this IP address will be translated into 193.168 and 99.2. Let me tell you 10.1.1.1, right? Let's suppose it will select a random port XXX, right? And let's suppose 555, and translated IP address. This will be the source IP address, right? Let me type source IP address and source port number, right? Translated source IP and translated source port number, right? As you can see that source IP address, what? The internal IP address 10.1.1.1, and source port number, it will select randomly source port number. Let's suppose 55, right? And translated IP address, it will select any one of them, right? So let's suppose 193.168.99.2, right? and it will select translated port number. Let's support 100, right? So this single IP address, this single public IP address can handle 60,416 internal IP address, right? Internal IP address. And yeah, of course, there will be 60,416 port will be also available. So this one single IP address can handle 60,416 internal IP address. So let's move towards the lab. So as you can see that this is my sample topology, right? So before that, I would like to show you the configuration, how I configured this setup. So here I have enabled NAT, right? So that these IP address can be translated into public IP address, right? Because I have not taken any physical line from the ISP. I have taken wireless network, right? I am using basically my water sport network, so that this router will translate whatever IP address, will coming from inside to outside, it will translate into public, right? So here I have also enabled the NAT, right? So both ISP1 and ISP2 are the member of SD-WAN. So let me show you the configuration of SD-WAN. So first of all, I would like to show you the interfaces configuration. So as you can see that ISP1 and ISP2, right? Both ISP are member of SD-WAN. So as you can see that I have not configured any rule for SD-WAN. So this is the default rule, right? So as you can see that, right? So basically in this video, we are going to learn policy with source NAT. So let me show you the policy configuration. So as you can see that I have already configured two policies. So basically right now both policies are disabled. So I will create one policy for testing. Let me give the name policy with source NAT, right? Testing. So incoming interface, what? So this is the SBI interface, right? So as you can see that 10.1.0 is coming in this interface, right? So outgoing interface, what? Outgoing interface with the SD-WAN interface, and source I am going to keep all, and destination will be also all, and services all, right? So NAT. So it will use outgoing interface, right? So this, let me drag and drop it in top. So this single IP address, so this this single policy can handle the 60,416 IP address. Now let me show you the configuration. Before that, I would like to show you the session table, right, of Fortigate firewall. Get system session list. So as you can see that session table as well. So let me go to the as you can see that right now there is no session from this IP. Let me again try from this IP. So as you can see that this IP are getting translated 10.1.1.2. As you can see, source IP address. I mean internal source IP address this one, and source port number, internal source port number this one, and translated it is this IP address is getting translated into 193.168.99.2, and translated source port number this one. So as you can see that it is using DNS, right? So now let me try to ping. Ping 8.8.8.8. So as you can see that I am able to ping that 8.8.google DNS. So let me again try to check it, session table. So as you can see that at this time 10.1.1.1 is translating into 193.168.99.2, right? This single public IP address can handle the conversation of 60,416 internal IP address, right? This single public IP address. So that is, we call static SNAT, we call it PAT, port address translation, right? So I cannot show you the 60,416 IP address in this session table because I'm using only two to three PC, right? So as you can see in the lab, there is only three PC, right? So this single public IP address can handle the conversation of 60,416 internal IP address, right? So let me take the console of browser as well. So right now I'm using Chromium browser. Let me try Google. So as you can see that I'm able to access the Google, Amazon. So as you can see that I'm able to access this site, I mean Amazon website. So let's again go to session table. So as you can see that this single public IP address, right? 193, right? Source IP address, right? Internal source IP address this one, internal source port number this one, and this IP is getting translated into 193.168.99.2, which is the existing interface of the Fortigate firewall, and this is the secondary ISP, right? And translated source port number this one, right? It is going towards this domain, right? And it is accessing which service? 443, I mean HTTPS service, right? You can access any BBC news. You can access whatever services you want to access, right? So let me show you the policy sheet as well. So as you can see that, right? If you go to the log and the report forwarding traffic, so there is no traffic. Let me show you the. So as you can see that here you can see the logs as well, 40 view source, right? So thank you for watching this video, right? So in static, let me tell you what happens in static yes NAT again. So in static net, all internal IP address are always mapped to the same public IP address, right? We can also call it PAT, which is port address translation. And this one single public IP address can handle the conversation of 60,400 internal IP addresses. And in single IP address, there are around 60,416 port, right, is also available. So thanks for watching this video till the end.